Asti swastaruni karagra vigalat kalpa prasuna plutam pastu pastuta vedunada lahari nirvana niryakulam sastra sastra niruddhaniva vilasad gopi sahasravritam astanyasta natapavargam akilodharam vishokrakritihi jayatu jayatu devo devaki nandanoyam jayatu jayatu krishno vrishtivamsa pradeepaha jayatu jayatu meghashyamala komalangaha jayatu jayatu prithvi bharanasho mukundaha jayatu jayatu prithvi bharanasho mukundaha. When Bhumi Mata approached Bhagavan along with Brahma and all the devatas, together they all petitioned. They gave a petition to Narayana to save Mother Earth from the rising adharma in the form of various demons and demoniac kings. And Bhagavan gave his assurance. And it is the outcome of that Sharanagati that was done by Bhumi Mata together with Brahma and all the devatas to Narayana, that Bhagavan decided to descend as Vishnivamsa Pradeepaha. He chose to descend in Vishnivamsa, Yadava Kula Tilaka, Yesha Narayana Shriman Shrirannava Niketanaha, Nagaparyankamusrijya Agato Mathuram Purim. And he decided to descend in Mathurapuri. The first phase of the mission of arresting the rise of adharma has already begun, as Bhagavan settles majestically in the wrestling arena in Mathura. It was not a normal wrestling arena. It was the very arena that represents the cosmic theatre, where Bhagavan's Krida is about to unfold. A massive arena filled with all kinds of people, the rulers and the ruled, sages, devotees, believers and non-believers, people from Gokula led by Nanda, Vasudeva and Devaki, all the Yadavas, and of course Kamsa, who presided over. The contest that was about to happen there was not an ordinary duel. Krishna was setting the stage. He had to, piece by piece, dismantle the fear machinery that was created by Kamsa. And this is that setting of that stage. To wrestle with Mushtika and Chanura is less than a child's play for Krishna and Balarama. But they did indulge in it in order to set an example, in order to kill Kamsa even before he could be killed. The ego in Kamsa got killed before the body of Kamsa was slain. When Mushtika and Chanura were slain, then and there, Kamsa almost died. So therefore, this wrestling arena where Krishna entered majestically after slaying Kuvalaya Pida represents the cosmic theatre. The Ranga is set, Ranganatha is set. And as Krishna and Balarama walked inside majestically, we saw how everyone assembled there looked at Krishna very differently. And of course, the women of Mathura were reminded of the blessed Gopikas they all heard about Krishna's pastimes in Vraja and how blessed the Gopikas were. The beauty here is Krishna is about to engage in a wrestling match. But the women of Mathura were enjoying his Saundarya and Lavanya, his Divyamangala Vigraha. They did not just see him as a wrestler. Because Bhagavan, in whatever action he engages, he is exquisitely beautiful, and that divine beauty can be experienced whether he acts as a creator or a destroyer. And the women of Mathura, while they were all worried for Krishna and Balarama, on one hand, they were also assured that justice is going to be done. Punyavata Vrajabhuvo Yadayam Nrilinga. Amidst all that was going on in the wrestling arena, all the women of Mathura started to praise Vrajavasis and the Gopikas. For a moment, they all assumed they too are Gopikas. The women of Mathura assumed that they too are the Gopikas, and they started to sing the glories of Krishna. How pious is the land of Vraja, wherein Bhagavan, in the disguise of a child, walks around, travels, wanders. Gudah Purana Purushaha Vanachitra Malyaha. The Purana Purusha, the Adi Purusha, the Purushottama, the Jagannatha goes around on Vrajabhumi wearing simple garland made of flowers that were given to him by the forests of Vrindavana. That shows his Saushilya, his simplicity. Gah Palayan Sahabalaha Manayamscha Venum. What does he do? After descending from Vaikuntha, he tends cows, goes around tending cows. And as a simple cowherd, along with Balarama, he keeps playing flute in order to take care of the cows. Vikridayanchita Giritra Ramarchitangrihi. That Bhagavan, whose lotus feet are worshipped by Shiva and Mahalakshmi, another Krida is about to start. Vikriditanchitai. Several Kridas he has done so far in Gokula and Vrindavana and on the streets of Mathura. Now another interesting Krida is about to begin. As Krishna is about to wrestle with Chanura and Balarama with Mushtika, on the one hand Krishna is very focused, going around as a wrestler. And at the same time, he also knows that all eyes in the arena are on him. Krishna is a Leeladhari. He acts as though he is immersed in what he is doing, but he is Sahasra Sirisha Purushaha Sahasrakshaha. While he is engaged, Chanura thinks Krishna is engaged in a combat with him. He does not know Krishna is engaged with each and everyone assembled there. Everyone thinks Krishna is looking at them. And they are all enjoying that beautiful form. Here, the Mathuravasis enjoy 6 aspects of this beautiful form of Krishna as experienced by the Gopikas of Vraja. Gopyastapah kim acharanyat amushya roopam. And they keep saying, we too, by assuming that we are Gopis, we possibly are getting the blessings of the Gopis who have done so many austerities. They were able to relish this beautiful form of Krishna. This is Amushya Rupa. And let us not miss this opportunity to drink the nectar of Krishna's beauty. Lavanyasaram asamodhvam ananyasiddham. Lavanyasaram, the essence of loveliness, unequaled or unsurpassed. Ananyasiddham, itself perfect. Drigbih pibanti anusavabhi navam durapam. It is always fresh. Krishna, I look at him today, he is fresh. I look at him tomorrow, he is the same. He is infinitely beautiful. Therefore, this is the only beauty where there is the law of diminishing returns does not apply. I am able to draw that nectar every moment. I am able to lay my eyes on that beauty. And of course, Durapam, difficult to obtain, but how blessed we are that he is amidst us today. Ekanta dhama yasasaha shriya aishwarasya. That loveliness, that Divyamangala Vigraha of Krishna is the abode of all beauty that is there in this universe. It is the abode of all fame that is there in this universe. It is the abode of all auspiciousness that is there in this universe. It is the abode of all opulences that is there in the universe. And thus, they were all enjoying and relishing Krishna's beautiful form. Krishna was not playing a flute. Krishna was not dancing there in the arena. Krishna was indulging in a wrestling match. But the Mathura Vasis were actually unmindful of what Krishna was doing. They had only one business: to relish that beautiful moment where the nectar, they were immersed themselves in the nectarine beauty of Krishna. Now, this is, they remind us once again of how it is important for us to keep remembering Krishna all the time. Throughout the 10th canto, through the Gopikas and now through the Mathura Vasis, we understand how we can move from effortful remembrance to effortless remembrance. Now, all of us have this question. When the Shastras say, all that we need to do is constantly keep remembering Krishna. Whichever text we open and ask the question, what should I do? The answer is one and the same. Think of Krishna. Keep remembering Krishna. Constant contemplation. Bhakti, simply put, is constant loving contemplation of Krishna. Now, immediate question that we ask is, how is it possible to do? We are doing hundreds of things every day. Amidst all this, how do we keep doing this work? No, we need to be reminded how, when we keep going out, we are all attached to our homes. And wherever we go, we always want to come back home, isn't it? And greater the attachment with the home, greater is the pull that we want to come back home. Greater is the attachment for the home. Wherever we are, whatever we do, in the background, there is this thought which is always running. Home, sweet home. Essentially, the Gopikas and the Mathura Vasis teach that when Krishna becomes our home, then effortful remembrance, intentional remembrance. Initially, it is intentional. We need to, with effort, keep recalling. With effort, keep restoring. And then, with effort, revitalize our memory. Initially, we have to work on our memory. Slowly and steadily, the memory will start working for us. From intentional remembrance, we slowly and steadily move to inspirational remembrance. We move to innate remembrance, where the thoughts of Krishna, the contemplation of the Krishna becomes the fuel for us to do whatever we need to do. Krishna fills our mind and our hearts, and he floods our consciousness. So therefore, here the Mathura Vasis are unmindful of what was actually going on. It is not their business what goes on in the wrestling arena. Krishna will do his job. Their job is to relish Krishna's contemplation on Krishna, and that is exactly what they are doing. And therefore, as they were reminded of how the gopis used to relish Krishna, yadohane vahane matanopalena, even when they were milking the cows, even when they were churning the butter, even when they were gathering cow dung, all that the gopis were doing were only remembering Krishna. Gayanti chainam anurakta diyo ashruka antyaha. Whatever they were doing, their throats were parched, their throats were choked, tears were coming from their eyes all the time, unmindful of where they are. They did not bother where they were. They did not bother what they were doing. All that they focused were on constantly singing about Krishna with their throats parched and with eyes, joyful tears flowing all the Dhanya Vrajastriya Urukrama Chittayanaha. Dhanya, Dhanya. That's the Vrajastris are really blessed because they teach us how to be always not mindful with double L, mindful, filled with Krishna. Now, the wrestling, as the Mathura Vasis were engrossed, absorbed in Krishna. Of course, many of them were interested in the outcome of the battle too. And Kamsa was very, he was getting concerned. The way he saw Krishna and Balarama preparing for the wrestling match, He knew what the outcome is going to be. Krishna chose Chanura. Balarama chose Mushtika. And there ensued a one-sided battle where effortlessly Krishna and Balarama slayed both Chanura and Mushtika. The rest of the wrestlers were no match. The rest of the wrestlers, Kuta, Toshala, Shala, all of them fell. And everybody was rejoicing. There was excitement, celebration all over the arena. And except for one, Kamsa was the only one in the entire arena who was feeling completely uncomfortable, and Kamsa knew that death is nearing. Kamsa, but then still the ego in Kamsa has still not completely died. What did Kamsa do? Music was going on. All the orchestra in the arena, they were all excited as Krishna and Balarama demonstrated their skill. They got carried away. They were originally practicing to play to support Chanura and Mushtika. But then they got carried away. They started supporting Krishna and Balarama. The music continued. Chanura and Mushtika lay dead on the ground, but the music was going on. Kamsa stood up and immediately commanded the music to stop. And then he said, confiscate Vasudeva and kill him then and here. Confiscate Nanda, kill him. Everyone from Vraja, whoever has come from Gokula, they need to be killed right here. This was the moment Krishna was waiting for. As Kamsa audaciously was commanding everyone to be killed, that was the trigger that Krishna was waiting for. Evam vikattamane vai kamse prakupito avyayaha lagimnotpatyatarasa mancham uttunga aruhat. Here, Shuka beautifully says he is prakupitaha avyayaha. Prakupitaha, one who became angry, became extremely angry. We may wonder, Bhagavan, does he get even angry at all? Bhagavan gets angry. We all get angry when our desire is not fulfilled. Bhagavan gets angry when his bhakta's desire is not fulfilled. That is the only difference. His anger is righteous anger. The moment Kamsa started to threaten to kill Vasudeva and Nanda, Krishna became extremely angry. Prakupitaha, but he is avyayaha. He is still avyayaha. No, we need to see here in this context of how Krishna is going to slay Kamsa. The adjectives chosen for Krishna also have very deep messaging for us. He is Purushottama, Uttama Purusha. Uttama Purusha Spanyaha Paramatme Tudakritaha Yo Lokatrayamavishya Bibharti Avyaya Ishwaraha. He is the one, he is Avyayaha, he is Ishwaraha, he is Avyaya Ishwaraha. So this is the beauty. Ishwara, the controller. Avyaya, the imperishable, the unchangeable. Avyaya Ishwara, the Ishwara who is unchangeable. He is the supreme Ishwara who is imperishable, unchangeable. Now, Kamsa sitting there, he thinks he is Ishwara. He is the controller. In order to prove that who is the real controller, Krishna had to exercise now that choice that he need to make. Therefore, evam vikattamane vai kamse prakapito avyayaha laghimnotpatyatarasa mancham uttunga aruhata. Evam vikattamane vai kamse. So here, Kamsa, he kept on boasting and blabbering. This is what happens when the ego overpowers. One does not understand what is going on. Overwhelmed by his own ego, Kamsa thinks he can control whatever can happen. But Krishna had to kill that illusion of control in Kamsa. Prakupitaha avyayaha. The imperishable Bhagavan, we may think, does he also go through emotions like anger? Obviously. He is imperishable, he is unchanging, but even he, when he chooses, can become angry. In the context of slaying Kamsa, Bhagavan was prakupitaha. He was extremely angry. And what did he do? Laghimnotpatyatarasa. Juxtaposition of two opposite words. Laghimnotpatyatarasa. Laghimna means with ease, lightness. Tarasa with force. This is what Bhagavan's aghatita ghatana samarthya. On the one hand, very graceful, very effortless, very light. On the other hand, with the force that is unimaginable, bringing both of us together, he gracefully, effortlessly exercised force. Only Krishna can do that. Laghimnotpat, and what did he do? Effortlessly jumped. Kamsa was sitting on a high platform, high pedestal, and visualize that massive wrestling arena filled with people everywhere, and at the center of the arena was a raised platform, and on that raised platform was a massive golden throne, and Kamsa was sitting on that throne. What did Krishna do? From the ground of the wrestling arena, he effortlessly jumped. Kamsa could never imagine that anybody can, even just with one simple jump, can reach that height. Laghimnotpatyatarasa macham uttunga aruhat. He mounted the high throne effortlessly. That high throne there on the high platform is also symbolic of Kamsa's pride, his symbol of authority, false pride and false power. Krishna had to show how false pride and false power are fleeting in nature. Therefore, he jumps and reaches the pedestal. Then and there, Kamsa did not know what was coming his way. Dhamavishantam alokya mrittum atmana asanat manasvi sahasottaya chagresosi chadmani. Dhamavishantam alokya mrityum atmana asanat. All the Mathuravasis are enjoying Krishna's Divyamangala Vigraha. To Kamsa, he looked like death personified. Death was walking towards him. It was like when Krishna said, Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravruddhaha. Kala was face to face with Kamsa. Kamsa for a moment did not understand. I was expecting a 10-year-old boy to encounter me. Here is Kala staring at my face. Tamavishantama alokya mrityum atmana asanat. As death personified approached him, Kamsa did not know what to do. Manasvi sahasottaya jagresosi charmani. Again, the foolish Kamsa thought his sword and shield will defend him and protect him. Even then, Kamsa did not realize what actually is the shield that can protect him. He still thought his own shield, his own sword will come to use. Therefore, what did he do? He drew his sword and the shield, and he thought he can protect himself, defend himself against Krishna, who was approaching as Kala towards him. Tam kadgapanim vicharantamashu shenam yata dakshinasvayam ambare samagrahit durvishahograteja yatogragam takya sutah prasahya. Tam kadgapanim vicharantamashu shenam yata dakshinasvayam ambare. Sword in hand, Kamsa was moving quickly side to side. He did not know. He had no guts to face Krishna. Krishna was approaching him. What was Kamsa doing? He had sword, he had his shield. But he couldn't go face to face with Krishna. He was going hither and thither, side to side like a hawk. He was going from one end to the other end. Shenam yata dakshinasvayam ambare samagrahid durvishahograteja. Krishna, whose fearsome strength, his strength is fearsome, is irresistible. Then and there, Krishna said, you don't need to approach me, I am coming. You wait there. I am coming. Krishna, you don't take any effort, I will come. And Krishna was approaching him. And what did he do? Samagrahi durvishahograteja yatoragam takya sutah prasahya. He powerfully seized, just like Garuda seizes a helpless snake, Krishna seized. We have to visualize Kamsa was massive in size. He was strength personified to ordinary eyes. But Krishna effortlessly seized him like Garuda seizing a helpless snake. Yathoragam tarkya sutah prasahya. Pragridnya keshesu chalat kiritam. Nipatya rangopari tungamanchat. Tasyo parishtat swayam abjanabaha. Papata vishwasraya atmatantraha. What a wonderful shloka this is. So this is that time where Krishna is establishing Dharma. Adharma is being vanquished. And we need to see how this is being vividly described by Shuka here to Parikshit. Pragrihya kesheshu chalat kiritam. Nipatya rangopari tungamanchat. Rangopari tungamanchat. So, Kamsa was thinking the wrestling arena is his. Ranga means stage. Ranga means theater. Ranga means ground. Unfortunately for Kamsa, he did not know who was the Natha of Ranga. The Ranganatha was right in front of him, but still Kamsa thought that stage belonged to him. Pragrihya kesheshu chalat kiritam. Seizing Kamsa by hair, his crown trembling and falling down. Very, very symbolic here. The crown falling down, when ego is inflated, one starts to decorate not just one's body, one starts to decorate one's ego. All that Kamsa was wearing is a decoration for his ego, and that which he was very proud of is his kirita, a massive, long kirita, essentially to exhibit his power, his false power. What did Krishna do? First thing first, his crown came trembling down. He seized Kamsa by the hair. So Krishna was reminded of how Kamsa seized all the little infants and killed them. And this is exactly time for payback. Just like how Kamsa seized little infants, Krishna seized Kamsa by the hair and Nipatya Rangopari Tungamanchad. Rangopari Tungamanchad threw him down from the high throne. He threw him down onto the wrestling ground. From the height, from wherever Kamsa was, he came falling down, thrown into the dust in an instant. Rangopari Tungamunchad. Kamsa, every oppressor has to face this ultimate truth. When Bhagavan decides, this is a lesson not only to Kamsa, to all of us. Kamsa thought he is the hero in his life and he is the controller, but he did not understand this entire universe is Bhagavan's Ranga. And as Ranganatha, he is the director, he is the orchestrator, he is the hero, he is the script writer. He does everything that he wants. And therefore, here Kamsa thought he can control, but then and there he is being taught the fact of life that nothing is in his control. And therefore, as we all frequently say, the world is a stage, but the stage belongs to Krishna. And here on his stage, again, this is a representation of the cosmic stage where Bhagavan has to intervene, and he intervenes when he chooses to. Tasyo parishtat swayam abjanavaha. And then Krishna, what did he do? He himself leapt on Kamsa. First, he pushed Kamsa from the high platform. Kamsa came crashing down on the ground. As he fell, what did Krishna do? He leapt from the high platform and he came flying, leaping onto Kamsa. But beautifully here we need to see, Tasyo parishtat swayam abjanabaha. Is not Tasyo parishtat swayam Krishna. Swayam abjanabaha. Abjanabha, the one from whose nabhi this entire creation emanated. The creator. Now Krishna is indulging in destruction. And this statement says the creator is indulging in his destruction. What do we understand from this? Creation and destruction are not opposites. Creation and destruction is not the opposite of creation when it comes to Bhagavan. We're talking of what Bhagavan's Leelas are. Destruction is nothing but a continuation of creation which goes on in a cycle. It is a renewal mechanism. And creation and destruction for Bhagavan are prerequisites. And therefore, the creator doesn't stay aloof. This again is Bhagavan's compassion. He doesn't just create and let everything be. He creates and he himself pervades in the creation, and he ensures that he intervenes in his creation from time to time to ensure that there is harmony, there is order, and that is exactly what he is doing. Tasyo parishtat swayam abjanabaha. Also, the creator is like a gardener. For the tree of life to survive and thrive, whenever there are branches, there are dead branches, they need to be pruned. And Krishna keeps pruning them from time to time. Papata Vishwashraya Atmatantraha. He is Atmatantraha. Again, another message. He needn't have descended all the way from Vaikuntha to slay this Kamsa. It is just waste of time for him. Sitting in Vaikuntha with one sankalpa, Kamsa would have been dead. But why did he do this? He is Atmatantra, self-sufficient. There is nothing for him to do. But he does this. If he doesn't descend, then we don't have his Leelas to cherish. Atimanusha Cheshtitas are required for us for our own constant contemplation and remembrance. Therefore, this is also a Cheshtita which keeps us, giving us an opportunity to keep reminding ourselves of his assured protection all the time. He is Atmatantraha, he is Vishwashrayaha. Very interesting statement here. Papata Vishwashrayaha. The shelter of all fell upon Kamsa. The shelter falls on the one on Kamsa. Until then, Kamsa did not realize who was his shelter. Kamsa did not realize who was his source, what was his source. Kamsa did not realize the very source of his strength. Kamsa did not realize the very air that he was breathing, the very food that he was eating, all that he had, his kingdom, his people, his title, his position, his everything that he had. He did not realize who was the source, who was the sustainer. And Bhagavan is giving him a reminder. The shelter of all shelters, that Vishwashraya, falling on Kamsa and reminding him by that fall. Then and there, the vital air of Kamsa passed out. Then and there. And Krishna effortlessly knocked, strangled Kamsa's chest then and there and extracted the vital air out of Kamsa. Pragruhya keshechu chalat kiritam nipatya rangopari tungamanchad tasyoparishtat swayamabjanabaha papata vishwasraya atmatantraha. Kamsa finally was slayed. Sanityadodvignadhiya tam ishwaram vibannadanva vicharan swapan swashan tadarsha chakrayudam agrato yataha tadeva rupam duravapam apa. Sukha immediately says there to Parikshit, says, this Kamsa had been disturbed. Nitya udvignadhiya. He was always anxious. But there was one difference to our anxiety and Kamsa's anxiety. Only difference was, he was anxious, always thinking of Krishna. In his anxiety, it seems Kamsa was visualizing Krishna all the time as Chakradhari. Dadarsha chakrayudam agrato yataha. Piban adanva vicharam swapan swashan. When he was drinking, when he was eating, when he was breathing, when he was walking, in whatever he was doing, there was only one thing Kamsa was doing. Constantly, always Krishna was there. Sukha says, because of that, he attained moksha. Immediately, we all take notes. I have a very important question to ask Guruji after he finishes. And I know what the question is. Wait for that. No, Kamsa was slayed. Kamsa's 8 brothers, Kanka, Nyagrodhara, all immediately assembled there and started to attack Krishna. But Balarama immediately intervened and Balarama killed all of them. And then all the wives of Kamsa came, lamented, but they all realized that Kamsa had to face this consequence, and therefore they all reconciled themselves to whatever had happened, and they too prayed to Krishna for protection. Finally, Krishna and Balarama went and met Devaki and Vasudeva. Devaki and Vasudeva were waiting for this very moment. Just imagine plight of Devaki. She was the one who gave birth to Krishna, but she could not spend any moment with him until now. More than 10 years have passed by. Krishna had been far away from her. She could only listen to Krishna Cheshtitas and listen to all the Leelas he did in Gokula and Vrindavana. As Krishna and Balarama walked towards them, Devaki was counting her blessings. This was the moment that she was waiting for. She did not want anything from Krishna, not to speak. Then and there, Krishna and Devaki were in a tight hug, and that was the moment that she was being praying for. Krishna spent some time with Devaki and Vasudeva, but then Krishna, being Krishna, had to move on. So he immediately had other tasks to perform. He pacified Devaki, pacified Vasudeva. Then he looked at Nanda, and Nanda wanted to continue staying. He looked at Nanda. enough of your stay, now pack up and go back. This one thing we constantly see, Krishna has no qualms. He knows that life must move on, and he knows that Krishna's physical presence is not necessary to be with Krishna. So this is what he has already taught the Gopikas. And Nandagopa, with a heavy heart, moved on, and Ugrasena was installed on the throne. Ugrasena, after installing now Vasudeva had a very important responsibility to perform. Now it is already too late, but now that Krishna is back, Krishna's and Balarama's Upanayana was performed. Krishna and Balarama enter the Brahmacharya ashrama, and they have to now choose the Guru and Gurukula Vasa. So Sandipani Maharshi was chosen as the Guru, and Krishna and Balarama proceed to Ujjain, and where Sandipani's ashrama was there. Of course, Krishna had to go to Gurukula because Krishna had to demonstrate, lead by example as to how everyone had to go through the Gurukula Vasa in order to learn the Shastras. But Krishna had no time. A lot of things have to be performed. So therefore, he decided, he told Sandipani, you need to understand, I can give you 64 days. In 64 days, teach me everything that is there. There are 64 types of arts. And all the Vedas, the Vedanta, everything including all the 64 arts were taught, and Krishna and Balarama learned all of them in just 64 days. And then the time for the graduation ceremony. Gurukula ends with the graduation ceremony, and there Guru Dakshina had to be given. Now Krishna approached Sandipani. Krishna was hoping that Sandipani is going to ask something very priceless. And therefore, as he approached and asked Sandipani, what would you want? Sandipani, like all of us, had a very, very regular ask. I am missing my son, and my son is lost, and he possibly is also feared dead in Prabhasa, in the ocean of Prabhasa. Please retrieve him. Krishna said, one more lost the opportunity of asking me the real ask. But then he asked, and that ask had to be fulfilled. Therefore, Krishna goes to Prabhasa along with Balarama. And there he finds out that there is a Rakshasa by the name Panchajana who actually abducted Sandipani's son and killed him eventually. Now, this Panchajana had to be killed, and then finally, through the intervention of Yama, Sandipani's son was retrieved back. So Krishna brought Sandipani, and along with Sandipani's son, Krishna also retrieved the conch which grew out of the Rakshasa Panchajanya, the Shankha of Krishna. And together with Balarama, they produced Sandipani's son back, and Sandipani was very happy.